Hello, I am Gretel Sarah, and along with my lab partner Karina Galano, we chose the topic of catheter-related urinary tract infections for our PowerPoint presentation. I was actually curious to do this topic because I myself had a catheter-related UTI, and I was curious to learn more about what type of microbial agents actually cause UTIs and how they're transmitted as well. So the catheter-related UTI occurs along the urinary system. It's the most prevalent type of hospital-acquired infection. Approximately 75% of the healthcare-associated infections are due to catheters. The pathogens that actually cause this type of bacteria are fungi, pathogenic bacteria, and enteric pathogens as well. The bacteria can enter the urinary tract system during the insertion of the actual catheter. And the high risk of infection also occurs during the catheter manipulation, drainage, and removal. So just because they are automatically going to put the actual catheter in doesn't necessarily mean that while the nurse is putting in the catheter that's where the actual bacteria occurs. It can also occur while they're actually manipulating the catheter later on during the practice of treatment, or during the drainage of the catheter or the actual removal of the actual catheter. So the causes continue. The catheter provides a surface for adhesion. This means that, for example, if the nurse is actually manipulating the catheter, it can cause a small adhesion, and bacteria love adhesions, and this can cause also an irritation, and if there's irritation, then the body then produces mucus. Basically as a line of defense, but the mucus is also infested with bacteria as well. Some of the microbial agents. To infect the urinary system, a microorganism usually must enter through the urethra or rarely through the actual bloodstream. Catheter-related UTIs occur because urethral catheters inoculate organisms into the bladder and promote colonization by providing a surface for bacterial adhesion and causing mucosal irritation, like I mentioned before. The most common bacterium to cause UTI is actually E. coli. E. coli lives in the human gastrointestinal tract, and this is how basically it can get into the actual catheter. For example, we have a patient, and the patient is having kidney failure. They are laying down. They're not feeling well. They have a catheter. They go to the bathroom on themselves, and there's feces that actually gets onto their actual private part because they're laying down. And the bacteria, then E. coli, since it lives in our gut, can enter the actual catheter. Another form that this microbial agent can actually get into the actual catheter is if you have a really irresponsible nurse that's not wearing any gloves, has long fingernails, did not wash their hands before leaving the restroom, or actually leaving another patient's room as well. So the population is affected. Basically, there was actual prevalence of a survey that reported that urinary catheters are the most common in indwelling devices inside actual hospitals. In Europe, 17.5% of patients in 66 hospitals had catheters on, and in the United States, 23.6% patients in hospitals had catheters on, which it's basically around 183 patients per day have actual catheters on. So who should be tested? Persons with indwelling catheters, patients who have had prolonged use of the urinary catheter, for example, women in labor after an epidural like myself, and if you have any frequent recurrences of UTIs or a chronic kidney infection. So patients who are in the hospital for kidney failures, they're having problems, with infections, they're having fevers, and they have the catheter on, those are the ones who should be tested. Also, the catheter, basically this type of bacteria as well, the E. coli, we can get UTIs with E. coli aside from it just being a catheter. We can get it because there's another source of infection through swimming, drinking, consuming, and eating any foods washed with or exposed to contaminated water. So I just wanted to mention that. So for this slide, I will leave the presentation on to my lab partner, Karina. She will review the symptoms of the urinary tract infections caused by catheters. She will review the diagnosis. She will also review the duration of recovery for patients, the treatment plan, and she will also review the complications and long-term effects of the urinary tract infections caused by catheters as well. Well, thank you.